I am the vice president of UPF, which is the core sponsor of this particular webinar. We initially started the webinar dealing with gun violence, and it morphed into, all right, yes, let's deal with guns. That's essential and a very important topic and an issue to address, especially in America and around the world. But also, we decided to really start looking at what are the root causes of gun violence in America. And we'll come to several conclusions because we've had so many wonderful persons that come on and share with us, the areas of violence that they're working on. And we have come to conclusion there are some root causes of those violent acts that needs to be addressed. And sometimes organizations are trying to address them. And that's where we find our nuggets. They're very wonderful persons that are coming on, from activists to community organizers to pastors, to religious leaders, politicians, and several others, educators. All those who have come on have given us a glimpse of hope, because they have shown that there are some best practices out there that can be utilized not only in their community, but maybe on a national level, to curtail, to reduce the violence, because they begin to address the root, not only the cause. And the gun is really in the area of a cause. You know what I'm saying? The gun, I always say, is an inanimate object. It takes someone with some sort of motive to pick it up and to shoot and to hurt and to harm another person. But today, we have one brother, a young man from Chicago, Torrence Cooks, who is a community activist, who is an activist against crime, especially dealing directly with youth crime in Chicago area, which we know that sometimes the Chicago area is one of the targeted communities in America that it has accentuated in many ways a lot of youth violence. And so we're glad to have him. Let's and welcome him. I'm going to ask him to say a few things, but before that, if we can spotlight him to bring him on, I'd like to ask him a few questions, because there might be some synergy as well when I really read his article, what he's done in Chicago as it relates to Darrell Scott. Torrence, welcome to our platform. You had said that you have come to Washington, D.C. To deal with or addressing with youth violence, and that you had encountered with our brother Darrell Scott, who we know very well. Welcome to our platform, and we want to hear your strengths and your hopes and how you've been dealing with youth violence and why you are motivated and what has motivated you to focus and to play a central role in reducing crime, especially dealing with our young brothers and sisters out there in the community that many times forms gangs and all sorts of things. So welcome to our platform.
How you doing? Thank you for having me. How y'all doing? Everybody's doing? How you doing? My name Torrence Cooks. I work with a company. My company, it's not my company. I'm actually starting my own right now, but I work with an outreach company called Activists. We focus on we focus on, like, we take a part of the community. Like, for instance, where I'm from, we'll take a part of the community. We focus on all the grammar schools and high schools in that area, right? And supervisor might have 10 outreach workers. Each outreach worker have to have 15 high-risk individuals from that community. And we keep a daily tab on them and try to change their normal, try to present a bunch of different opportunities for them to try to help them focus on getting out the streets and focus on doing something better. That works to an extent, because for our kids right now, it's hard to give a kid a job right now. He just know how to go on the internet and try to find $10,000. So that's the hard part of trying to get them to focus on the job. They know how to scam and make money off of every other way except getting a job. So that's the hardest part, to try to focus on job opportunities for them, because they're not really focused for a job. Right now, I'm really trying to. I'm focused. I'm really. My attack right now is fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth graders. I'm trying to change the normal for the next generation going into high school. So that's where I work at right now with that group of the age group of kids, and work with the parents, the single parents, try to help the kid and the parents at the same time. And
Excellent.
any questions? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I just want to you elaborate a little bit on what are I have a few questions. What are the tactics, if you can explain to our audience, what are the tactics that you've been using to, as you have said, to change their so-called norms to the real norms that they need to be utilizing in their life in order for them to, succeed in this world?
Okay, one of the main things that I do with my straight eight program. My straight eight program introduced 16 to 24-year-old to life skills, but okay, my approach would be, I would take 8 different walks of life, all different walks of life, like few people from any type of walks of life, just different from theirs, and we'll take 8 of them at a time. It's an 8-week program, and within that 8 weeks, we will sign them up into some type of trade that they interested in. Figure the trade, they can take a trade anywhere through the country in life to sustain, to help themselves. So we try to focus on a trade something that they would want to do. We'll put them in the straight eight program once a week. I mean, every week we meet up with all 8 kids, all 8 mentors. Everybody take one kid. You to mentor this kid for a week. You make sure he get to school on time for his program, for the trade program. You help him out with the trade program, and you just show him life skills for the week, your way. So we pick the mentors. We hand-pick the mentors, like, be specific about who the right mentors are. You mentor him for a week your way, but you make sure he get to this class on time. Week up, we meet up again, and we switch all the kids out. You get a different one, I get a different one, everybody get a different one. And we do this for 8 weeks. So for 8 weeks, each kid done been with 8 different mentors that done taught them some different type of life skills. That's a 2-month program that we continue on after that. Now it's just a follow-up program. We grab a different set of 8 kids. That's one of the programs. That's one of the steps I take far as like being hands-on with them.
Wow. So do you have any from that? Do you have any like success stories and transformation stories you can
Yes.
tell us about in regards to those 8 kids and
Yes.
going to the different sponsors?
Right. Like my last cohort, I had two of my participants. They wanted to get into trucking, so we figured out, instead of CDLs, they had the driver's license, and we got them into the hauling, instead of, the trucking and hauling, instead of 18-wheelers, and they end up getting in. They end up getting a dually truck with the hitch with the trailer on the back, and I don't hardly ever see them. They always gone making transfer loads back and forth. That's just for 2 of them for the last cohort, and 2 of them right now from the last cohort still working with us. Like they had ambitions to become outreach workers. So I got them on. Got this program to be. Got the youth program, the youth outreach program that we put them on. We had a grant. We was able to pay them $100 a day for 3 days a week. You know what I'm saying? But I keep them around us and training them to be the next outreach workers.
Well, thank you. It's very interesting process that you embraced to have these young people go through 8 different, mentors, uh, So what was the result of that? What was the motivation behind allowing them to do that little cycle of going through one, going to another, going to another?
I grew up. Hey, I believe in hands-on help with the youth because everybody don't learn the same, different sets, especially the youth. Their attention span is just not there to be sitting in a classroom setting. So I believe in the hands-on. You get more done with them to trying to be successful with them. So and just me alone. I come from a growing up in a good neighborhood. Pops and moms separated. Moms had to move to the projects. We stayed in the projects for 2 3 years, and she moved out. But my connections grew from them 2 3 years, and I never left. And just being able to, I ended up going to a neighborhood in second grade where I had a playground. I went to a new neighborhood, and it was like the older guys sit on the slide boards that wouldn't move. I didn't understand that. Like why they won't move off the slide board? You know what I'm saying? Like I just left from it. Where I just left from it was our playground. So I used to get my friends as a kid in second, third grade and walk to my old neighborhood for the playground. You know what I'm saying? So I always just been hands on. I know hands on, and I think I get a lot done hands on. For instance, my son isn't out here. He's a youth outreach worker. He moves through Chicago freely. He know everybody. I sent him to when he graduated. I sent him to Africa for 3 weeks, and he is like he the inspiration for the kids that I bring into cohort because like he one of them, so they can relate to him, but they know that they see it as like he doing something different, and we not the well off family. You know what I'm saying? We struggle like you struggle, but we did something different.
Yeah. So again, that's really powerful. I have some other questions, but and then we'll open up the floor because I want to get some more information out of you. Now, do you find it effective? Reason why you allow them to go to, or the program is set up that they go through one sponsor for 1 week, 8 weeks, through 8 different ones. Is it because during that 8 weeks, maybe the first sponsor might not connect well or be the one that really can inspire them? Then you can go to another one. He might have a different information package for them that might inspire them, or A, B, C, D. Is that the purpose to why you go through a whole 8 weeks and they go through 8 different sponsors?
At the end of the 8 weeks, he should be connected. He should have been connected with somebody that he got a real personal connection with out of that, instead of me just
Okay.
appointing him to somebody that I figured he should connect with.
Right, right. Okay. I think that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah,
Part of the motivation is to see which one is the best one for that particular person. Is that correct?
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's really very interesting. I like that. That's powerful. Uh and so what other programs do you have that you engage the young people in follow-up programs, or uh post programs, or prevention programs, etc.?
I'm a neighborhood guy. I'm a real community guy. So I know I'm in tune with all the business in the neighborhood, all the startup businesses. So like I'm always chasing a grant that can like just the grant that I just ended. I had a grant for 50 kids that I can pay them $650 every 2 weeks. But I had to apply to jobs. So I got with businesses in the community or different places and ask them to hire them, and I'll pay them. But when the program ended, like out of 50, at least 30 of them stayed on with those places where I put them, like the places hired them on permanently. You know what I'm saying? So I find like just difficult. I don't know. It's hard to really explain because I'm more to get it from them. I like to sit down with them and have a conversation with them and figure out where they at, and then figure out what helps them. So I'm just like try to have a plethora of resources, and I try to get it from them first. Help me help you, then I can find out, then I can help you better getting it from you. So I'm more hands-on. It's a more hands-on approach. Like each one of my outreach, I'm a program manager for my company. Each one of my outreach supervisors have to have each one of their outreach workers have to have 15 participants in the neighborhood they work. So for instance, if we cover 3 beats in one neighborhood with 10 outreach workers. We got over 150 kids that we dealing with that they have to make weekly contacts with, at least 3 to 4 hours contacts with, and figure out something to get change the normal for this kid.
Another thing, I know there's some other questions out there, but I wanted to go into you coming to DC. Um, and how did that pan out? And how did that engagement go with, I think, with Daryl Scott and ex-President Trump?
I
You were
mean,
spotlighted.
the biggest thing that came out that was my relationship with Dr. Jenkins and Dr. Rouse. That was the biggest thing that came from it. But it was more of a, at the time, it was the resources. We was just complaining about the resources not making it down to the ground. It was like you're always trying to fix the problem from up top, but the people that's really working on the problem never sees the resources. That was the whole purpose of the Trump visit, just to try to get the resource to trickle down to the people that's really on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I wanted. It's interesting because, of course, Dr. Jenkins is the president, and I'm the vice president of this Stop the Violence, of UPF, which sponsors the Stop the Violence. So glad to finally hear you, but he's always mentioned you. Of course, I know Dr. Rouse very well as well. But you came to DC, correct? With the group?
Yes.
Yes. I was there as well. I probably didn't bump into you, but I was there with Daryl Scott, Dr. Jenkins, Dr. Rouse. I think Dr. Bishop Stallings was there, if you remember Archbishop Stallings. Yeah, I happened to be there at the time. So, well, welcome. So I don't know if it's serendipitous or whatever we come. I didn't really know until I read your article. I said, oh, this is the brother he's been talking about. Well, great. Welcome to our platform. Glad to have you. I'm sorry Dr. Jenkins is not here because he's in Korea. So he'll be thrilled to know that you have come on. So anything else that you would like to share with us before I ask the audience to, address you by statement or questions?
Not really. I'm open for questions.
Okay. So the floor is open. I know that Wayne had shared something. Just Wayne, why don't you just share it yourself? Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Torrance, I admire your grit to go out there and make something happen. So thank you for that. When you have one-on-one conversations, because from what you're telling us, it is when you have hands-on with these young people, you mentor them one-on-one. Does the conversation come up? Are you satisfied with your life? Are you really happy with what you're doing and where you're going? And I'd like to hear what you've experienced when you do have such conversations with young people that are struggling to find a new way in life.
Just having our monthly convenient meetings, when I have like 6 to 10 of them, we'll sit down in the room, we just conversate about what could we have. Like I might have some community stakeholders come in, and we just have them just to listen, and we just have discussion, asking them about what do you think, what could we do to help, what could we do to help the community better, help you out better in the community. And right now it's like it's a transition. I don't know what generation they called it right now. It's not Z or X or whatever. I don't know what it's wanted to call it right now, but it's the violence in Chicago came from the last generation to the point now. This generation now is the ones was in the house watching everything on YouTube and video games, and they wasn't really involved in the violence. But in the last 3, 4 to 5 years, they done turned 16, 17, 18. They finally outside now, and just talking to them, they really are the well-kept kids. Seem like it's like they don't know nothing about what they're doing. They're just trying something they done learned off the internet over the last 5 years. So it's like really just like once you talk to them, is they direction like just like what make you leave the room and scratch your head like you're really that passionate about that. Like and that be so something simple like a hat, but they were really ready to go all out and all out about it. Like for instance, we have a death that might have happened in this neighborhood 10 years ago, and everybody saying rest in peace, Snoop. Now this kid was 7 years old when Snoop died. Now he's 17 now. But he willing to die for the rest in peace Snoop situation, and he never even spoke to Snoop. And right now and talking to him at 17, he like they killed Snoop. You didn't know Snoop. I understand the death, just your feeling like that about death, but you had no ties to this guy. You don't even know him. You probably even saw him once, but you really passionate about going to war about Snoop. So it's like just talking to him, you guys like it's almost have to trick them to get out of the mindset they in. Just gotta hear them and then try to trick them out of the mind because it's like they passionate about something that's not even worth this.
Hmm.
But they learned it from in that room. You bought them a PlayStation, an Xbox, and a flat screen, but they went in that room and closed the door. And they watched their YouTube and the Grand Theft Auto, and they coming outside now at the age of trying it.
Now, does one name of a person come to mind that many of your young people that you're speaking with, they look up to or they find hope in?
Not really. It's so many of them. It's like they all like it's not the big large groups now. It's the groups of 6 to 10 and 5 and 8 over here. It's more of that now. It's not more of a real large group. So this group might just be talking about somebody that I never heard of.
I see. Thank you.
Like in Chicago right now, still if they like we still have I go to the cops meet with the police station, they still be talking about the Gangster Disciples, the Vice Lords, and the G and the that's not what's going on in Chicago right now because these groups of kids right now don't know nothing about that. It's just 10 of them and saying they this. And it's some name of a friend that passed. They saying they okay to say the steering wheel passed, then we the steering wheel game now. It's a bunch of packs of things like that going on in Chicago. You don't find out they bad until they do something.
Well, that's interesting. So a question when you mentioned that that generation now and the generation prior, because the generation prior uh, were out there perpetuating or an environment or subjected to that whole violent and also a certain mindset, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But are you saying that, well, let me ask it this way. Are there pros and cons to that other generation who were in their closed doors, just looking at the internet and playing these internet games? Are there a pro and con to the both, or are you finding out, or is it
Nope,
all
it's not.
negative, or
It's all negative.
all negative?
It's all negative. It's everything. Like for instance, my son, I got a 25-year-old and a 21-year-old. They grew up. They wasn't allowed to close their bedroom door because of it. I found out how that the video game took them to the strip club and the video game took them on a drive by. You know what I'm saying? That's they coming out. The kids coming out like we had a big carjacking thing going on right now, and they really just trying it from what they learned on the internet and on video games. Can't hear you.
Yeah, I was just, sighing. This is it's hard to think about, but we do have a couple more questions. I'll come back to that. I think Susan Edwards, do you want to share something? You have to unmute yourself.
Uh, Hi, thank you
How
very
you
much
doing?
for coming. Yeah, how about you?
All right.
Looking good.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much for being on this platform. I really enjoy hearing your ideas, and I'm learning from them. I substitute teach here in Florida, South Florida, Hollywood, Florida.
Okay.
And I do middle school and high school. So those are the ones you deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So we deal with similar, you're in a different place though. So that's the only thing. But I find that these, especially the 6 to 8, especially 8th grade in the high school also, they're a product of the COVID situation. So they didn't go to school with the teacher and with the class. They hung out at home with their computers. A lot of times they had to be by themselves because mom and dad were working or mom was working or whoever. So this is they're dealing with, we're dealing with a different type of kids who have been alone a long time, and their best friends are their computers or their, especially their phones. They're addicted to their phones and playing
Yes.
games. So this is what we have to deal with. So we need to wean them out of that by by just showing them something more loving, right? Something
Yeah.
that's more interesting. Get him out of that state. Get him something that's more, looks more interesting. Take him on trips or whatever interests them. So I like what you're doing, that you give him for 8 weeks, you give him different opportunities, and get him interesting things. So
Thank,
I like your idea, So thank you so
thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is so true. This is another, it's almost like another pandemic, don't you think, this computer thing with our young people? But one thing I am impressed with that you had stated in the beginning was that you're not only dealing with high schoolers, you're dealing with the middle schoolers. And
Mhm.
that's important because uh, at least you can nip certain things in the bud and you can begin to shape before they start going to the high school where the peer pressure is even stronger, than
Yeah.
so to help them make right decisions and have better behavior that are more conducive to what the society expects out of all people. But the environment that they're in is not sometimes conducive to helping them to behave in certain ways. But anyway, we're plugging through, and I like what you said, are saying to going to them and seeing where they're standing, and right there on the ground because they need that. They need more positive thinking elders out there, not judging them, but working with them. So
Yeah.
you're getting some results from that. Uh, and like you said, it's very interesting because I always catch this little piece when I listen to our speakers. You gave her like a stat of how many did and how many stayed on. And it's very impressive. Out of 50, 30 still stood. That's a good record. But there's a very impressive, significant, impressive number, if you will, that decides that they too want to be outreachers to their peers.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes, so that goes to show how many out there that are positive thinkers and do have concern, but not having the outlet to share or execute that concern in a safe place. And it seems like your outreach and your platform has provided that safe place so that they can recalibrate their thinking and become individuals who can think of their own, you know, situations and people in their community that they too want to help. How do you see that, Torrance?
I mean, just youth outreach workers. Like I try to bring up most youth outreach workers. I'd rather train a kid their age to talk to them to be get more done that way. So I try to get much youth outreach workers as I can. Like my son is a magnet. I love how he is. Like I let him be in the streets. I made sure he went to the school that he wanted to go to and all that, grammar school, and meet the right friends. That way he got the right group of people out in the streets. But then that give me access to those kids more, because bring them home. He always home with 5 or 6 of them. So now I got access to them. That way I know. So I don't know. It's like it's just the hands-on approach is just my thing with them. You know what I'm saying? It's just figure out meet them where they at really, and I go from there.
Thank you. The floor is still open. Look for any other comments.
All comments.
Hi, this is Patricia Fliginger. I also live in the Chicago area, and I'm so grateful to see Torrance speaking up on these issues. And recently I saw a broadcast which was spotlighting that program that he's talking about with the 8 weeks and jobs for the kids during the summer. And I noticed that Pastor Barrett's son, Tory Barrett, was one of the people who was very active in doing this. And some of the, yeah, right, yeah. And we were at his church the time when you received that award from the Women in Ministry. And Minister Rako was there, and also Reverend Jenkins. And, you know, people like yourself out in the community, that's the heart of the matter, I think. But we also need reports frequently that can get on the, you know, how's the program going? Like there should be a follow-up to those really inspiring newscasts, which, you know, we get so much news and they rehash all the violence, but they rarely depict what's going on as a proactive, you know, a preventative. And I think that's where people like yourself, you know, you should be interviewed. Not just, oh, these are the leaders and these are some of the students, but some people in your group could come on and give their testimony. I think that would be great. Maybe it has to be done on a separate program like, you know, community-wide, like Chicago Tonight or one of those, you know, but thank God for you, Torrance.
Thank you.
we're with you on this.
I know. There's a few people that I always get an email or a text from somebody with ALC that's always checking on me or calling my moms. So like I remember the time I did a community event for my neighborhood, like a reunion event, and they came down and brought so much food down for me, and so it's been like I said, the best thing came out of me going to DC was meeting Dr. Jenkins.
Oh yeah, yeah. God bless you and your family. I have a 29-year-old son too, and I say ditto about the video games, but he knows better. You see, he had parents that were there for him to guide him away from groups like that. And even if he's a group of 1 or 2 that aren't doing it, I think they can make a great, you know, support group for the others somehow, because they feel the pain of it. We had a carjacking in our own neighborhood. I live in Carpentersville. It's not even close, but where are they coming from, you know, in the night? Like 5 kids, right? Probably. And of course, the person left their cars. They left a key in the ignition. It was stuck in the ignition. They didn't know how to get it out. And then that was one of the cars. Like, not just vandalized, but also that one was just, they took it with them. You know, I don't, it's so ridiculous.
That's the thing they do. They walk around just checking car doors just to search the cars, and got lucky and find keys in them.
Lucky or unlucky. Because, you know, look at the price they have to pay just for that few minutes of exhilaration for doing something wrong, you know. Sorry, they're the ones that suffer afterwards the most. Yeah. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can't hear you, Reverend.
One of your success story students, young people, to come on and share their.
That's what I was thinking. I'm already on it. Next Wednesday, I'm gonna have a couple of them on here. I'm already on it.
All right.
Get that blue dragon spirit, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a couple of my staff. I'm gonna get a couple of my staff on. Some of my supervisors on me next week.
Okay, we can make that arrangement. That's great. Hey, John O'Connor, welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Torrance, so much for your work. You're kind of person just so impresses me to get down and do the real stuff. I try to tell myself sometime that I call it POP. It's people over paper. Try to do less paperwork and more people relationships. So you're doing that kind of job. So I guess I wondered when you bring your begin to get to know these young people, do you have any kind of a written survey you have them answer, and so you get to know some of their background or their problems and concerns they have? And I want to ask you a couple more questions. Maybe uh, is your program, do you have like where it's formulated on paper so it could be transferred to someone else if they wanted to, like, follow
Yeah,
your kind of program and do that kind of thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Go ahead.
we gotta. I'm like I'll have a next Wednesday. We'll have set up for you if you can see us. We got a survey paper. They got to fill like a 20 questions that they got to go through.
Mhm.
Really, that's to try to meet them where they at survey.
Yeah.
But especially like try to get them involved in something they want to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's a survey they go through before we take them on, before we start the program, before we get, it's a whole process before they get into the 8-week program, job
Mhm.
readiness and all that type of stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a survey. I'm like, I want to do a presentation for y'all next Wednesday we get on here. And I have some of my staff with me that we can show
Yeah.
you exactly how we do it.
Sure. Well, it sounds like you're really core of the program is really making personal relationship, right? That's kind of what I can see. And of course, that means that individuals have a sense of being cared for, and there's an expression of love and concern for people. So that's what gets them motivated to stick with the program, I'm sure, and do their best, to participate. So I think that's really, yeah, it sounds like it should work very well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it's
Thank
at
you.
with it. Because you show them you care about them, they give you they just somebody care about me. They give you more. They give you a little more. Try to give you they all when you show you care about them.
Mhm.
That's great.
Mhm.
That is so true. And that's what's lacking in those communities. And why, so some of those are the triggers, if you will, of, of ill behavior, because they go a lot of times without love, and they're void of that. And love is a very powerful force to play a very intricate role in your behavior and how you deal with your greater community. Yes, anybody else? Thank you for that, John. And floor is open. Susan, you had something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, could I just ask you, I put it on in the chat, as to what jobs do you offer to the students and what age for the jobs do you have it?
Right,
That would interest me a lot.
right now, I go out to. I really be try to be the driving force to get to find other organizations that have both the resources like that. Like I work with Chicago, one Chicago, um, um, like you said, Pastor Barrett. They always have something going on at the church with their programs. So I find programs like different organizations with other programs and just really get them off into that. Unless it's the straight A program when it comes down to the trade schools. You know what I'm saying? We find the trades they want to do and try to get them involved in, focused on. But I don't have no direct connects to none of those places like that.
Mhm. How about what is it? The building. There's the they build houses. This program and
Yeah,
for underprivileged people, and then the people who work over there, they learn how to do plumbing. They learn how to do all these different things.
yeah.
What do you call that thing?
I don't know, but they got one right around the corner from my house. My wife always talking about it. They always see a crowd of people working on it.
Uh-huh.
The
I
Habitat
don't
for
know.
Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that.
Habitat for Humanity. That's
Mm-hmm.
really good too.
Like that's my thing with the trade programs. Like I know they can trades. You can
Yeah.
they like high school stop teaching. It should be mandatory in high school with trades,
Uh-huh.
and they took them out. I think it should be like something that's should have been mandatory because all kids not gonna get it when it
Uh-huh.
comes to the books.
Then they need to be driven over there and driven back. Because
Yeah,
a lot of them
that's
don't
a
know
big
how to
thing
drive.
too. Besides the driving, it's hard for them to travel because of the violence. So
That's
it's always the right now. That's why we deal with a lot of most of our programs, a lot of hands-on pick up and drop off. That's why it's
that's
hard to
good.
get them jobs in certain places. Like I wouldn't want to put a kid in a job at McDonald's, but I know he might bring violence to McDonald's just by him being there. So that's another problem with trying to find right jobs for him.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody got him on their mind and on their radar about some dumb stuff. I don't want that problem to be end up in McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? So we were strategic about that. That's why I really focus on trades. That way it's like you working on a house or you working on, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of I focus on the violent ones. That's either you not the violent, but you in the community where you're gonna be related to. They're gonna really point you out using that picture with the ones that they looking for or whatever. So I really focus on that crowd to try to. And it's hard to find jobs for them because they can't be anywhere.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, I'm trying to break that group of 30 up to the point that the rest of them that don't want to listen, they ain't got nobody to hang with.
Yeah, those are the ones you want to get.
Yeah.
Because they get lonely when you're alone. That's when you get into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's when you got to get them out of that as quickly as you can.
Like with my sports program, we focus
Sports is
on
good.
we focus on the like I watch the C picks of the time where the uptick of the shootings happens in the city, and I try to base my schedule, my tournaments around that time, so that way I will have a bunch of kids in the gym around the time when you saying that this the time the shootings are uptick in Chicago.
Wow.
Good point. Yeah, very good point. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah. Any other questions out there? Statements to be made about?
I really like this. I I wish I would have been new about this. I would have been here, but I'm gonna be here from now on.
Yeah,
Right.
good.
Me too.
I work. I can't do this usually. I'm in the schools. I'm trying to motivate the students. I'm trying to. I call them the fix it generation because there's so many things wrong with our society right now. So I can call them to action. You know, you guys are the fix it generations. You guys have no time to just play around.
Yeah. You know what you're talking about, Susan. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. Like I said, the floor is still open for any other questions, any other statements to Torrance. Something you guys were saying that I wanted to address, but it'll come to me. What happened to Torrance?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what I wanted to say. Yeah. See, Torrance, we're going to have a conference, and one of the things that you had shared is I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Bostic. He's up in upstate New York, and I think Mount Vernon area, that area, which is, at risk area as well. But he's done a credible job, getting jobs for the young people and the gang members and how he engages them. And what he has done is those rival gangs, he's gotten them to work together so that the guys don't have to worry about going into another one's neighborhood to work. Mm-hmm. You see. So anyway, those are the things we can probably engage with and see how that works. And I have Dr. Bostic, Reverend Bostic, to come on too as well. We can all share a little bit. But yeah, we look forward to your people coming on next week. We're going to make that happen. Anyone else? It's open. I don't want to call on anyone. We need your input.
Oh, I have a question, if I could ask Torrance.
Sure.
Torrance, self-worth, the young people that you're dealing with, do they have a sense of their own value?
No.
No.
They don't know how strong they are at all.
Mm.
It's about today for them. They don't even think about, it's not even a plan for tomorrow. It might be at the weekend at the most. As far as they thinking is for today.
Mm-hmm.
How do you change?
Right.
I hear you. I didn't hear you.
How do you change that mindset with these young people?
That's the hardest. Like it's a process. Like I tell all my staff, you don't stop talking to them and don't give up on them. Like, so it might be 35 times before this guy take the opportunity. But I said it to him, I ain't never stop offering it to him.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah, I
hardest
think,
thing. The influence when they not around you is overwhelming to the point what you trying to change. So it's like you gotta just stay on it. You can't let up. Because once they not around you, the influence that they have amongst each other and their phones and the internet, they social media connections, you fight against a lot just of that trying to change one of them.
yeah, it's true, and that's a fact. But by virtue of like what I'm inspired by people like yourself is what there are best practices out there, and how do we bring them in, and then formulate even a national understanding or national outreach for all the best practices. But one of the things that is true, changing the mindset. But one of the things that I always say, things are subliminal. You might not change the behavior, but when you have an alternative voice, which they never had an alternative voice, speak something in their ear. That's where your value added outreach is one of them. You're speaking to them. Those 8 weeks, you're speaking something to them, even if they don't like the other guy or other woman. They heard something that still is a nugget that they didn't hear before. So what I'm saying is that, we might not change your behavior overnight, but if they never heard anything at all, it's worse. At least at some juncture in their life, it might kick in, and that's where I believe what you're doing is extremely, extremely valuable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question here from Andrea. As you are a natural worker, or you're a natural working from such a sincere motive, I look forward to hearing from your staff and others next week. So they're rooting you on for next week. Yeah.
I'm excited about this. Some of my staff really need this because one thing about it is when I'm talking about in Chicago, it's not just Chicago. It's okay. It's around this whole country. It's not.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's just not. It's the exact same age group we talking about.
Exactly. In the exact same situations, exposure, environments. It's just the demographics are a little different. I mean, the locations are different.
Yep,
But
same YouTube.
Same YouTube. Yeah.
Mm.
Same YouTube. Do you have any programs where you do have some speakers come in to help them understand different things, positive messages?
My case managers really like, but I was just being funded to do. I was working off grants. We only able to do what we can do. So it's like my case managers try to connect with all the other organizations and as possible. If we can find out what they offer and see if it fit this and fit. Try to, what I'm saying, move it around where it fit.
Mhm.
But we don't have all the in-house resources, so we just try to make sure we connect with all the people around.
Very good. Very wise.
Aaron, I'll have a question.
Sure, please.
Yes, Torrance, I want to know your program. Do you have any spiritual or reference to God and that? Because we've seen many speakers that were so transformed by the relationship with God and put them in a position just to do so much in their life. And of course, our organization looks at every person as being unique and special, and we value every person, and we relate that also to being a children of God. So I wondered, do you have any kind of a religious aspect or spiritual aspect for your program?
Right now, I can honestly say that I fell off with that because, like, when after meeting Dr. Jenkins, he came in town. I went to a few of the breakfast, the Tuesday breakfast, and I met a bunch of pastors around the city, and I started coming in. I was bringing I was going to like different places over around the city, taking them different places with the pastors. I actually fell off with that, been more just too busy. It hasn't, but our organization doesn't have that.
Yeah.
But we all like my organization doesn't have it, but we tied to Pastor Barrett.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Got it.
Yeah. Pastor Barrett is really great. Excellent. And
Let's just say it's been about 2 years or 3 years. I don't think I was missing an event or nothing that Dr. Jenkins. I was in Vegas, I was in New York, I was everything that was going on with Mother Moon, I was there. And I think like in the last year or so, me and my wife fell off. But that's not the Peter's fault. It's my fault.
well, then this is always I always tell my friends and staff and brothers and sisters that God is the master orchestrator. So we can fall off, but he can reorchestrate and organize and bring us back forefront again. So it's good that you're here, so we can connect, and I can connect with you and our program connect with you. We're coming to a close. Is he still here? I don't see him.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see you. Any last questions? Because we're coming to the close, and then we're gonna allow you. We'll talk, but we'll allow you to say a couple words, but also prepare for next week. That would be exciting. Any last words, points that someone would like to make as we go? Oh, Wayne, welcome. Come on.
Just simply thank you for being out there. You're doing things that in the comfort of our homes, we're not doing in that way. So you inspire me, you give me hope by coming on and just telling your story. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else as we come to a close? So Torrance, if you would like to give the last word to our speaker. You have any last words?
I'm late to the party, but I'm happy I'm here.
Amen. I like that. Yeah. So I think we are come to a close right now. I think we want to thank you for coming on, and I'm glad I finally met you personally. We were in the same room together, just never met when you were here in DC at the hotel. You remember? And I'm really, 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 really happy to meet you. So we will organize if you give us your topic, we'll talk offline, and then we'll move forward and welcome your staff so they can give us a little bit more details how they're working, and not only your staff, maybe one of those young people who are one of your success stories and who are moving forward in a positive manner because of your outreach. So I want to thank you, and God bless you. God bless everyone who comes on and all the questions that are being asked. Thank you, Patricia. Good to see you. Nice to meet you as well. And John always, and also our dear brother Wayne and everyone else. God bless you. We'll see you next week, everyone. And Torrance, we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks.
God bless, Torrance. Be safe. Take care.
Will. Right.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, Reverend Oliver.
Okay, you welcome. Hey, how are you, Brother McCready? Thank you,
Thank
Andre.
you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, everyone. God bless. See you next week.
Goodbye.